Conventional cleaning products are full of powerful and harmful chemicals and typically packaged in lots of plastic. In commercial settings and industrial kitchens where a high level of cleaning is required, these products are used in large quantities, resulting in a lot of waste. That's why Nick Winstone decided to start Biovate Hygienics to disrupt the industrial and commercial cleaning supply industry by creating alternatives for harsh cleaning chemicals and repackaging their eco-friendly cleaners in easy-to-recycle cardboard bottles. Nick and his team are proud to be leading the way in this space by finding ways to make even the most difficult cleaning products sustainable and good for the planet. Check out this episode to learn about the positive impact Nick and his team at Biovate Hygienics are having on the environment. Hey, Nick, thanks so much for joining the Sustainability Champions podcast. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So the way I like to start these conversations is by going big picture and basically getting an elevator pitch from you. So with that in mind, what is Biovate Hygienics?
So Biovate is a biotech company focused in the space of commercial cleaning products, industrial and institutional cleaning products. And our core mission really is to ensure that we're disrupting the market with environmentally responsible products, environmentally responsible packaging. So essentially, we see ourselves as a positive environmental disruptor in our space.
Amazing. And if we go into those things in more detail, how exactly are you disrupting with your products and packaging?
So the two primary ways we're doing is one, the ingredients that we're using within our products. Where we're using more responsible products, products that are natural or naturally derived. We're using fragrances which are readily biodegradable. So that's really the one key. And then the other key, which I think goes across so many manufacturing industries, is packaging and ensuring that we're introducing responsible packaging into our space. So those are really the two main ways. There are other ways as well in terms of training and ensuring that we're bringing our training up to speed and moving our training technology along with the way broader both training and social media platforms are evolving. So those are kind of the three primary legs in terms of how we're currently disrupting our market.
Well, great. I'd love to go through those and I'd love to go through. Let me start that again. I'd love to go through each one of those in more detail. So if we start with the ingredients and the responsible ingredients that you're using, the first thing that comes to mind is you specifically pointed out that the fragrances you use are biodegradable, and I've actually heard about biodegradable fragrances in the past. But what is a biodegradable fragrance, and what? It sounds like most fragrances are typically not biodegradable.
Yeah, fragrances are really tricky to ensure that they are readily biodegradable. So we would look at natural fragrances, things like eucalyptus, pine, citrus flavors, and fragrances that we can get which are naturally derived and readily biodegradable. Essentially, with our products, with all our raw materials, the real acid test for us is how readily biodegradable are those products? What is their footprint? What footprint will they leave both on the surface, going back into the water table, to ensure that we're leaving as minimal a footprint as possible, number one. And two, if we are leaving a footprint, that it's readily biodegradable. So essentially, that's the key thing that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the types of ingredients that would do that, and what we really focus in on is biotechnology-based ingredients, so naturally derived bacteria, enzymes, plant-based surfactants made from plants. We've really been able to make great strides in this space with our products, ensuring that we don't have any petroleum-derived surfactants. So with our biotechnology range, everything is completely biodegradable, and we can actually claim that the products are naturally derived as well, which is fairly key. We're undergoing our audits at the moment with EcoCert, and once that's completed, we will be able to certify that the range is also naturally derived, which is quite key.
So most products are not naturally derived. But by most, I mean sort of the conventional cleaning products that you would find either on the shelves of supermarkets or that most commercial, I suppose businesses would use for cleaning. It sounds like they use petroleum derived surfactants. They have fragrances that are not biodegradable. They just don't test or really consider how their product interacts with the environment. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, that would be an accurate statement. Where most chemicals today are derived from either petroleum-based sources or other sources, other types of chemicals, which can be pretty harmful to your health. Then there was a study that was published probably about 3-4 years ago now that showed that professional commercial cleaners, people who spend day in day out cleaning, the impact on their lungs of using cleaning products they were using was equivalent to smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Wow.
So that's the kind of impact that it can have on your health by using products which are chemically based, as opposed to using products that are biotechnology based.
That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard of that before, but I've never actually. I mean, I would imagine, having sprayed various strong chemicals in the past when I was younger to clean things. Yeah, it's quite harsh on the nose, and you can sometimes feel it burning your nostrils while you're. But to think it's like a pack of cigarettes a day. I mean, that's intense.
Yeah, especially for if that's your job and you're doing it for 8 hours a day, the accumulative effect on that, that's 100. It's a pack of it's 100 cigarettes equivalent in a week.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, how are you testing? You mentioned that you're going through EcoCert and that you've tested um, that your cleaners are actually biodegradable and good for the environment. Is there a process that you're using to actually test that and see how it interacts with water or soil or air?
Yeah, so any raw material which we would use, pretty much globally, it would have the data available to us in terms of how readily biodegradable is it, how harmful it is. We would then ensure that we're sourcing the correct raw materials. We would then be testing them fairly extensively in our laboratories. We've got a fantastic team of scientists that internally do a lot of our tests. They also use external laboratories, external universities to do third-party testing as well, just to validate and ensure that our internal data is correct.
Great. And then moving to the packaging side and the responsible packaging, because you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of packaging in the world right now that is either difficult to recycle or that doesn't break down. So can you share a little bit about the packaging that your bottles come in, or that the cleaner comes in?
Yeah, so this is where we're really breaking ground, and we've been really excited this year to launch our zero compromise range. And the first range that's ever been put into the industrial and institutional market in a completely plastic-free way. So how we've done that is our bottles are made out of recycled card, so paper derived, but not from virgin paper, but they're from completely recycled paper, which reduces the carbon footprint. On the inside, they're lined with a completely 100% natural and organic latex, which keeps the cleaning products in. And lastly, the neck and the cap are made out of bamboo. The entire packaging piece is completely recyclable. It's completely biodegradable. In the UK and pretty much around the world, plastic is the main way that cleaning products are packaged. In the UK, we're not great at recycling our plastic, so only about 9% of our plastic gets recycled. And for that reason, we wanted to introduce an alternative packaging stream. We're much better at recycling cardboard and paper, and that's why we've launched this as an alternative packaging source. So we're really excited because it's the first one globally in the institutional and industrial market that's been able to completely take a commercial cleaning product that's strong enough to deal with commercial environments, industrial kitchen environments, but can also ensure that once the product's been used, that it's readily the packaging's readily recyclable. So that's really exciting for us. We're really breaking ground on in that basis. I think it's important. I don't think this is the end solution. But I think what we need to do and what everyone needs to keep on doing is pushing the market, exploring alternatives, and hopefully the right and best and most appropriate alternatives will come up. But the one thing we do know is that we're not great at recycling plastic as a waste stream that we have available to us. So that's why we've come up with this as an alternative.
Yeah, well, I think that's wonderful, and I've heard the 8 or 9% plastic recycled figure. I think it may even be a global number. I think just globally about 8% or 9% of plastic is recycled globally. So it's just not working as a system. It's we either need to find better ways more effective ways to recycle it, or just stop using plastic for these kind of single use sort of items. And I would call cleaning products like this more or less single use, in that you use the cleaning product and then you're done. It's not like a computer which uses plastic and you keep it for a couple of years. It's a different thing, but it's wonderful to hear how much thought has gone into these bottles, and they are fully recyclable, even though there's latex and multiple materials in there. There's no issue with that.
So in the UK, it's slightly complicated that our different councils have got different levels that they can recycle. So some of them are able to separate the lining and the card in their process. Some it needs to be separated before it goes into waste stream. So depending on how advanced the council is, it would either need to be separated, or it can be done during the recycling process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's amazing. And one thing a couple of things I wanted to mention, but I'll start with the going back to the actual cleaning product itself. It sounds to me like one of the brilliant things about making environmentally friendly products is that it's also really good for the people. As you mentioned, it's not harsh on the lungs and things like that. And that's, I think, really, really important, because if you're in an industrial kitchen, I mean, you're constantly cleaning. It's crucial to keep kitchens clean. So, but also I would imagine, if it ever somehow accidentally touches the food or anything like that, it's probably a lot less toxic as well, I would imagine. So, go on. Sorry, go on.
Very, very much so. So, it's got a couple of advantages. One, it won't taint the food. Certainly, the way that some chemicals can. To be fair, in a food prep environment, even harsh chemicals would have to be food safe. That you would not be allowed to use a chemical product on a food prep surface that could potentially taint the food. So we would be okay on that score.
That's even better news. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that this is that Biovate focuses on commercial and industrial sized commercial use cases, industrial kitchens, et cetera. I think that's really exciting because the amount of chemicals used in a commercial setting is going to be much more typically, I would imagine, than in a household. If I were to spray my kitchen, even every day, I'm not going to go through the same amount of cleaning product as in a commercial or an industrial kitchen. And so I think it's fantastic that you're focusing on that because it really allows you to make a bigger impact with the amount of chemicals that are used and the amount of packaging that is being generated.
Definitely. And what's really key is, particularly in kitchens, is to look at the amount of product that is going into the water table. So at home, you'll put in your dishwasher, and at best, it's going to take an hour to clean. In a commercial environment, they can clean normally within a minute to a minute and a half. And they're going constantly. And the amount of chemical that's going back into the water table from those is significant. So that's where we're able to make a really big difference, where most dishwash products are based on caustic. Caustic's pretty corrosive. It's not great to be putting back into the water table. Where our products are non-classified in any way as hazardous, and are non-harmful going back into aquatic life, back into the water table. So those are the kind of things that can make a pretty big difference. It's not just the surface cleaning that it's actually more about the dishwashers and the amount of just the volume of chemical that gets pushed back into the water system.
So does Biovate, just since you're mentioning dishwashers, are you making other products aside from just because I think we may have just been talking about surface cleaners, or at least that's what it
Yeah.
sounded like to me. So what is the range that you make?
So we've got a full range for hospitality, for kitchens. So that would be the dishwash products. We would have the products for surface cleaning, products to treat the waste as well, which is really well treated with biological products. So essentially, we have everything a kitchen would or could need. We've got hand soaps as well, to ensure that hand hygiene is maintained. So pretty much everything that an industrial kitchen would need. We've also got everything that other industrial environments would need. For example, office cleaning, which is pretty straightforward, or what we call building care, basically any product to clean any surface in a building.
Mm-hmm.
But dishwash is quite a big focus of ours, just because we knew we wanted to make a big impact on something that we know has probably a far bigger impact on the water table and aquatic life,
Yeah.
is commercial dishwashers than just surface cleaning.
Well, that's really important to address because, yeah, as you say, especially in a very busy kitchen, the amount of water that's being used for cleaning dishes, it's important to address that, and make sure that it's good for the environment and for the people who are using it. The third pillar that you mentioned that you're focusing on is your training technology. Can you share a little bit more about that? And you sounded really excited about what you're focusing on there, so I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, so I think what we've seen in the UK has obviously gone through a big change in the last 5 years in terms of Brexit, and with Brexit, what's happened as well is that we're seeing far more of our customers who use the products, who are coming from a much younger generation. We're going back to, as we have less labor coming from around the world, and we're reliant on people that already are within the UK system. We're seeing far more kids coming out of high school, students at university, getting involved in hospitality, which is great, in commercial cleaning as well. And the way that we train needs to be far more for the TikTok generation, than traditional training methods, which are kind of traditionally quite long, boring. So what we've tried to do is really mix things up and taken our safety training, which traditionally safety training is about 45 minutes. And I think yeah, it's amazing. I remember kind of 5 years ago when I started getting turned on by this and getting it evolved, which was all about kind of the YouTube generation and getting things done in 5 minutes. And now with TikTok, we're down to 10 seconds. So we've taken kind of a happy balance where we've got safety training down from half an hour down to 7 minutes, and then product training down from 5 minutes down to 1 minute. So we've kept it short, sharp. We've tried to introduce some cool music, keep it high energy, keep the beats up. We're also the training is now completely online. It's really easy, so it's available via our website. We've got a full academy, which we host there. Yeah, we're just trying to make the training nice and simple. We've taken a very open source approach to it, where all of our training material is available online. No username passwords, which is quite unusual in our space and industry. So if someone arrives to clean a kitchen at 5 a.m. in the morning, they can Google Biovate floor and wall cleaner, and up will come a training video for our floor and wall cleaner. So we don't hide things. We make it nice and simple, open source, and show that it's available at point of use, and keep it nice, short, simple, happy within a minute. So I'm pretty enthused and excited about it because it's quite unusual within our space and industry. Normally, training is very long and tedious, and I can just see when you go and train and you go into the restaurants and kitchens, and you see people who this is kind of their summer job. They're in college, or they're still at school. They're really looking for something short, sharp, and I think we've been able to achieve that. So that's something else which is quite unusual. And I'm a big believer in whatever you do. At the end of the day, we make cleaning products and toilet cleaner. But if you use technology in whatever you're doing, so we need to train people how to use that toilet cleaner safely and effectively, with good use of technology. I think it can really elevate your business.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And yeah, training videos are always tricky, just because when they're long, like you're saying, 45 minutes, especially now, people's attention really starts to waver. But I wonder, if the TikTok generation is used to 10 seconds, what's going to happen with the next wave? We're going to have to get it down to, I don't know, like 30 seconds or no, it was 10 seconds. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, plug a
it's just going to be
USB into
short,
your phone.
short bite-sized bits. We're just going to have to keep on breaking it down to shorter bite-sized bits, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. What was the moment that you realized that this was the work that you wanted to do?
So I got into space 15 years ago, where I was working in a family business back in South Africa, where I'm originally from. And in that business, we had a portfolio of hundreds of different types of chemicals. And kind of I realized, hey, a lot of these products are really not great for the environment. They're not great for the people that use them. We started a big program within the business in terms of finding natural and organic alternatives. So this was over a broad spectrum of home and garden products, fertilizers, pesticides, and we were able to make a pretty big impact in terms of finding alternatives and offering alternatives into the market. At the end of the process, we needed to look at cleaning products, and that's why I got into this whole space. Started a biotech business in South Africa, worked pretty well and got up and running. And I thought, hey, this will probably take off in the UK. I'd worked here previously, so I moved to the UK 12 years ago to get it up and running. Yeah, it's been an exciting journey kind of pioneering this technology in the UK market.
Amazing. And so is the company still also in South Africa and working there too, or you're only focused in the UK for now?
Completely in the UK for now.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's two things have happened in my personal life. I've got a young family, so have tried to avoid traveling
Mm.
within over the last 10 years. And also, I've just found that the UK is a great market. It's a big market, and yeah, it's kind of kept pretty much my whole focus and attention. So, exited the UK, the South African operation in 2011, and have been UK focused ever since.
Yeah, well, I imagine the amount of office space and the number of restaurants in London alone should certainly keep you busy. But yeah, and then you have Manchester and Birmingham. There's a lot of big cities in London that can certainly keep your attention, I imagine.
Yeah, it's such a huge market, and if you look at the size of the market for industrial and institutional products is about a billion pounds.
Wow.
Globally, it's about fifty billion dollars. And biotech as a technology has probably only got about a 20 million pound share of the market so far. So
Wow.
we've got a long way to go, both our business and our competitors, to in ensuring that we're making an impact in our space and in our market.
Yeah, well, that's it's an exciting opportunity. It sounds like there's a lot to focus on, and with that in mind, I mean, what is next for Biovate? What are you looking to do moving forward?
So we're really wanting to continue to disrupt in our space, and essentially we're looking at some of the really big challenging products that no one has been able to crack, or very few been able to crack. So the first of those was getting the dishwash right. We're looking at some of the other challenging products as well, and some big breakthroughs there. Ensuring that our plastic-free packaging gets widely distributed as well. So really looking at continuing to disrupt the market through packaging, through products, and very simply looking at what are the environmental challenges, what are the products that are having the biggest negative environmental impact, and ensuring that we continue to find alternatives for those.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic, and clearly there's a lot more work that needs to be done. So, it's great to hear that you're focusing on it. And I'm at Sustainability Champions on this podcast. I love speaking to people who are finding ways to solve these challenges, because ultimately, that's what we need to do in order to make a positive impact on the environment. So it's really uplifting to hear that that's exactly what you're doing, is one sort of cleaning product at a time, cracking the code and dominating and getting it right, and then moving on to the next one. So it's great to hear. And for anyone who's interested in learning more about Biovate and who wants to actually potentially test it out or try it either in their kitchen or office space, where's the best place for people to go to actually either contact you or just learn more about it?
Yeah, so we're pretty active as a business on social media. You can get hold of us on most types of social media. Our products are also fairly readily available from our distributors' websites. If you Google Biovate, our distributors have most of them have got an online presence with our products readily available. So yeah, always keen to engage with anyone who's got a passion for. I think whatever. There are so many challenges that we face from an environmental perspective. We're focusing on a very tiny, small part, which is industrial and institutional cleaning. We love to engage with people across the board who are trying to make a difference in wherever their space is.
Yeah, well, and I think it's really important. Then one thing I always say is that as long as you focus on one area and become an expert there are, thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially even millions of other people around the world who are finding ways to make a positive impact on the environment in all the other areas. So you don't have to
Yeah.
boil the ocean, although we're slowly starting to do that with how we're changing the climate, but we can just focus on the one thing that we're good at and let others focus on the areas that they're good at. And that's, one team, one dream, I suppose. But yeah, Nick, thank you so much for your time and for going through this. I think the work that you're doing with Biovate is amazing. And the fact that you're really focusing on, disrupting commercial cleaning, I think it's important and it's crucial just to show the industry that it can be done. And once one person disrupts, then others start to follow. So I think that's how you really make a big impact. So best of luck to you as you continue to disrupt the market and make a positive impact on the environment with commercial cleaning products.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you for your time.